Well, mischievous, yes, but I was rebelling quite a lot. When I couldn't take any more, I left Carriacou and I went to live in Union with my uncle. We got a transportation from Southampton to Waterloo Station, and that's where my sisters met me.
What's your name
Seigert Cox,
and where were you born?
Meldrum, Carriacou.
Can I ask when you were born?
When?
Yes.
I was born on the 16th of July, 1939.
Wow. Okay. Whereabouts were you born? Which hospital, or were you born from home?
Home birth.
Really?
Mm.
Do you know why it was home?
No, but I presume it's because they didn't have much access to hospitals.
Hmm. So, who were your parents?
My mother was Jane Cox, and my father was James Cox.
What was your mother's maiden name?
Ambrose,
Ambrose.
Jane Ambrose.
What did your parents do for a living at that point?
My mother was a housewife dedicated to making children.
How many siblings have you had?
10,
Got 10.
5 boys, 5 girls.
Where do you sit in that?
I'm the fourth of 10.
Um, and what did your dad do for a living?
The best way I could describe it was a farmer.
What kind of farming did you do on your
We
farm?
worked the gardens, when planting corn, peas, potato, and looking after animals, cattle, sheep, goat, pigs.
Mhm. So did you supply anybody with food, or was it just for your own personal
Our
family?
own personal family, and occasionally one or two of the families would either kill a sheep or a cow. You'll get the meat of them.
Hmm. Did you know your grandparents?
I only knew my mother's mother. I didn't know my father's mother or father.
What was her name?
My mother's mother, Louisa Mulzac,
Mozart.
Mulzac from Union Island.
Okay. Do you know much about her?
Well, yes, I knew quite a lot about her because I spent quite a lot of time with her.
Tell me about your time with her.
Whenever we had a vacation from school, we used to go over to Union Island and spend time there with her.
Mm. So was there any other kids around, or was it just your siblings?
No, it was about, she had two other grandchildren with her. And sometimes two, three of us from Carriacou would go over. So there was about 5 of us in the house with her.
Mhm. Mm. Do you know anything else about your other grandparents, or on either side, or any other distant relatives?
No, all I knew about was my aunts and my uncles on my father's side.
How far back?
Oh, far back. And like I knew your mother's mother, Aunt Rosie.
Tan Rosie.
She was my aunt.
Mhm.
Very nice. The best, as far as I'm concerned, she was the best of them all.
Tell me about Tan Rosie. Tell me about her. What was she like?
A very, very nice old lady. When I say old, I no disrespect, but she was much older than me.
Yeah.
And to me, she was very helpful, very understanding, even better than my father. She would listen to you when you talk,
Mhm.
whereas my father wouldn't listen. What he said, he meant it, and you had to go along with it.
So he's very strict.
Yeah, very strict.
Why do you think he was strict?
That's a very good question. Like he always say, he remember looking at us, reminds him of his attitude as a young man growing up.
Right.
I won't say he was disrespectful. He had his own way. Wouldn't listen to his father. And he always felt we were doing the same.
Hmm. So he's trying to keep you in line.
Tried his best, but he didn't succeed.
So what kind of kid were you? So were you quite mischievous or?
Well, mischievous, yes, but I was rebelling quite a lot. When I couldn't take any more, I left Carriacou and I went to live in Union with my uncle.
So what age was that then?
Mm, about 16, 15, 16.
Hmm. And that's your uncle on your mum's side, or
My
is that?
father on his side, his brother.
How did he take that then? How did
Oh,
you?
as far as he was concerned, James' head was too hard. He wouldn't listen. I did the right thing by moving out.
Hmm. So did you get on with the rest of your siblings at that
Oh,
point?
yeah, we did. We did.
Hmm. And did they stay at home while you were the only sibling that went?
Yeah.
So how did they take that? You leaving?
They didn't take it very good because they said I was too rude, but they understood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. So what did you enjoy school in Carriacou? Where did you go to school?
I went to Dover Model School. Was doing very well there. But there was an incident in the school where the headmaster had to be removed. And the old man, with his principles, high standards, took us out of Dover School and sent us to Mount Pleasant School.
Can you tell us about the incident?
No, I cannot.
Okay, I had to ask.
I figured that.
So you went to Dover. You got to Dover Middle School.
Yeah, Dover Model School.
Model school.
Yeah. And then we went to Mount Pleasant School. He didn't consider or think of the journey we had to make on foot. But as far as he's concerned, that's where we had to go.
How long did it take you to get to school then?
About 45 minutes to an hour
Wow,
walking.
wow. And how did that feel?
Disgusting.
Very hard.
Very hard.
And you did that for how long?
Did that for about 2, 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to rebel. I said, enough is enough. I'm not going back to school anymore.
What didn't you like about school?
The journey,
Right.
that was annoying.
Mm-hmm. What did you like anything about school? Any subjects though?
Oh, yeah, everything was fine in school.
Mm.
Everything was fine.
You got good grades.
Yeah.
So when you left to go to Union, what were you doing in Union?
Nothing much. I used to be with my uncles. Used to be in what you call seine boat, throwing seine, catching fishes, and I enjoyed that.
Is that what your uncle used to do for a
Yeah,
living?
yeah.
So who did he supply?
According to the size of the catch, they'll go to Grenville, they'll come to Carriacou, they'll go to St. Vincent, different boats set going out and coming back. And I enjoyed that.
How long were you doing that for?
I did that for about a year,
Mm-hmm.
but it was good fun.
Mm-hmm. So how many ship crew were there? Was it just you and your uncle, or was there?
No, there was quite a few guys was there.
Mm.
About some of them, about four of us.
So you did that. Did you always just do that at uni, or did you do any other job?
Only that in Union.
And then what happened next? Where did you leave Union to come back to Carriacou?
Yes, I came back to Carriacou because my two youngest brothers wasn't going to school.
What year did you come back? How long?
1957, December 1957.
So you spent how many years in Union at that time?
Just about a year.
A year, and
Yeah.
then came back.
Yeah.
So what was the problem with your brothers?
The old man by that time was sickly, and he kept them home most of the time to look after the animals.
Right,
So with me going back, they were able to go to school.
right, right. So I bet they were glad that you came
Yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah. They were very glad.
So your mum was alive at that point?
No, no,
No?
no. She had died 1954.
So that was before you left?
Yeah.
Right. How did she pass away?
She died from pneumonia.
Okay. How old was she when she passed?
I was hoping you didn't ask me that question. She was 40.
Gosh, really young.
She was 40, and she had 10 children.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. 10 children. So how did you come about, well, before I get to that, did you enjoy, tell me about the island. So did you enjoy carnival? Did you do things like that? What activities or festivals did you partake in?
Well, I want to say I took part, but we followed the carnivals. Because, I mean, at that stage in life, we never wanted to get tied down to doing this or doing that, but we enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
It was very nice.
Mm-hmm. Did you do any jab stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
You dressed up in that?
No, no, no. I didn't dress up in that.
You do old mass?
No, I didn't do the old mass. I was eager to get away from the house to chase after young girls.
Oh, excellent.
And that upset the old man a lot.
Mm, mm,
That's one of the reasons we couldn't get along.
right, right. So did you go to any sort of, did you do any of the festivals like Maroon or?
Well, yeah, we did. There wasn't much at the time going,
Mm-hmm,
but we did attend Maroons and so forth.
mm-hmm. And when did you leave? What were the circumstances for you leaving Carriacou to come here?
Well, I left Carriacou. Can't remember what month, but I went to Trinidad, and it's from Trinidad I came to England.
So what were you doing in Trinidad?
I was working.
What work were you doing?
I was working on a little pickup truck going down on the docks, picking up things and bringing back to the stores.
How old were you then?
19.
19.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was great fun.
Mm.
Great fun. I enjoyed it.
And where did you live in Trinidad at the time?
I was living a place called Belmont. My father's ex-wife, his first wife, I was staying there with them.
What was it like living there with them?
Oh, it was marvelous. Wonderful.
What were they like? People?
Very nice. Very, very, very nice to me. Yeah.
Did they have their own kids?
Well, she had 3 children there, older than me,
Mm.
and it was great fun.
Nice. And so you stayed there for a year, was it?
No, I stayed there for about 6 months,
Mm.
and then I got fed up of Trinidad, and I decided to come to England.
So how did you get to England in terms of the travelling? Did you get a boat, plane,
A boat, SS Ascania.
Ascania?
Ascania.
So did you go to? Was that from Grenada?
No, from Trinidad. I didn't go back. From Trinidad, I came straight to England. I
Straight.
didn't go
Oh,
back to.
did it stop off at any other countries?
It stopped off, but I knew it went to Jamaica. Can't remember all the countries it went to, but I could remember Jamaica for
What,
sure.
what was the journey like on the ship?
About 14, 15 days, something like that. It was all right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Did you enjoy the food? Was it a culture shock?
Different food to what we used to, but it was all right.
What kind of food did you eat?
Whatever they provided us with.
You can't remember?
No. I know it wasn't rice and peas.
And where did the ship dock in England?
Southampton.
So did anyone come to meet you?
No.
So what
We
was
got a transportation from Southampton to Waterloo Station, and that's where my sisters met me.
So at that point, all your siblings were in London.
Only two, Glenn and Theo.
So they were the older ones. How old were they at the time?
Good God. Glenn would have been about 22. Theo would have been about 24.
And what were they doing in London? What work were they doing?
Both of Glenn was working with London Transport, and Theo was working in some factory sewing. I remember that well.
And what was their accommodation like in London?
Glenn had a room, she was renting a room. Theo was renting a flat.
What areas in London were they?
Not London, Islington.
They were both in Islington.
Yeah.
So so they came to pick you up, and you went to, who did you live with?
Lived on my own.
You lived on so they got you a place?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So you'd already pre-arranged
Yeah,
this?
that was arranged, yeah.
So what was your place like?
There's a little single room, ordinary bed, a little table, couple chairs, but it was comfortable. I was all right.
So it was a room in a shared house?
Yeah.
So what was the landlord or lady like? What was the situation?
Well, I didn't see much of the landlord because he wasn't living there. He had a few houses that was rented out. He just come around like on a Friday, collected his rent, and that was it.
So what was the weather like when you came?
It was freezing cold. I landed here on the 15th of December, 1959.
And did your sisters bring you anything to wear?
No. No, but he had brought me a coat. Coat. That time Percy sent down a coat. Percy was in Birmingham, and he sent down an overcoat for me.
So you got to your flat, your room.
Yeah.
And so what did you do then? Did you go out what did you do the next day? Did you look for work straight away? Or?
No, I didn't look for work straight away. A couple of days after, we had to go and sign on in the Labor Exchange. Went and signed on. And then I got a job within a week of me reaching here. I got a job.
Wow. What job was that?
That was in a little rubber factory where they're making rubber gaskets. It was just walking distance. So again, I was all right. I didn't have to pay bus fare. I didn't have to rush.
How much were you getting paid for that?
It wasn't a lot, but it was It was all right. Can't remember the exact figure, but I know it was enough. Paid me rent, did me little shopping. No, it was all right.
How long were you in that job?
I was there for about roughly 2 years. Then I moved on to something way bigger.
What was that?
That was in some dye chemical place. I always remember the name Champion Juice.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed there for about 3 years, and then I moved and I went on the railways.
What was life like on the railways?
Oh, it was fun. It was fun.
What did you get up to? Was it a good camaraderie?
Monica. Yeah, it was all right. It was all right. It was good.
Can you tell me any stories from back then, during the railroad? What you got up to?
Well, that's where I met the girl I was going to get married to eventually.
Oh.
So we had good fun.
Was she working in the office or?
No, she was coming through, and we got talking.
Oh. And then what happened next with job wise or living? Did you
Well,
move from that bedroom?
after I got promotion and transferred to different stations in London, and then eventually I moved to Huddersfield.
So what year was that when you moved? Can you remember?
I came to Huddersfield December 1969.
So
I
why did,
spent Christmas 60 took me in London. New Year 70, I was in Huddersfield.
what made you come to Huddersfield?
I came to Huddersfield because Monica's uncle gave me an offer I couldn't refuse.
What was that?
And they had a house on Water Street, and it's like he wanted someone to look. They wasn't prepared to sell it. He wants someone to go and stay there and look after it, rent free. And at that time, I was paying £9 a week rent in London. It may not sound much to you now, but it was a lot then. So I took the offer and I came up.
So you got you to stay in the house,
Yeah,
rent free,
yeah,
to look after it.
yeah.
So how did you get a job?
Yes, I got a job again on the railways.
What were you doing exactly?
I started off, I had to drop grades because where I was working in London, that was on the southern region. Huddersfield is on the eastern region. You couldn't transfer from the southern region to the eastern region. So I had to pack up London. Although I applied for a job up here, I got the job, but I couldn't start at my current rate in London. So I had to start from the beginning, but quick turnaround, I was promoted.
And so how long were you in that job for?
About 4 years.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was all right. But as time go on, it started getting boring. And I moved out. I packed in and I went to ICI,
What was ICI for people that don't know?
Imperial Chemical Industries.
So you just applied, or did
Yeah,
anyone tell you?
I just applied. Yeah, I got a job, and that was the best move I made for a long time.
How long were you in that job?
14 years and 10 months.
So when you came to England, did you make any English friends?
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Did you
Both
get?
men and women.
Mhm. So you didn't find any? Did you have any problems?
Not really.
It was quite easy.
Mm.
So did you go out socially with English people to pubs and things like that?
Well, not sometimes, but not often.
Mhm. And did you miss London?
Mm, not really, for the simple reason I used to go back to London pretty often.
Mhm.
So I didn't really miss it.
So did you stay in touch with any family
Yeah,
when you left?
yeah.
Your sisters and.
Oh, yeah, we kept in touch, all right.
Mhm. So where were the rest of your family then?
Um, one was in America. Omi was in America at the time. And the rest was in Grenada.
Mhm.
But as time went on, they all went up to America.
Why did they choose to go to America?
I suppose that just had friends gone up there and hearing about the United States, they wanted to go there rather than come to England.
Mhm. So when did your dad pass?
Mm, he passed sometime around May 1959.
So where were you at that point?
I was home.
You was home?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Were you told any Nancy stories or tales or anything like that when you were growing up?
Yes, I was told a lot of Nancy stories, especially when I go to pre-meetings. Yeah.
What kind of stories were you told?
I told if you go in past a cemetery, don't point your finger in the cemetery or else your finger would rot. If you did, you had to bite your finger. Looking at the time we used to do it, but then as time go on, you realize it's an old wife tale.
So you believed it? Everyone believed
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
What else did they used to say?
They used to tell you all about ghosts and zombie spirit and all these things. Shouldn't walk late at nights because this will happen to you, that will happen to you. It was frightening as a young kid.
Mm.
But as you grow up and you get a little older, you realize what they were telling you was rubbish.
Why do you think they told you that?
I suppose it might have been either controlling or to get you to stay at home, scare you off going out.
Mm. And it worked.
It worked at the time. It worked at the time.
So when you were in the UK, did you did you do any kind of any festivals like Carnival or get together with other Carriacou people? For instance, when you were in Huddersfield.
Oh yeah, oh yes, in Huddersfield. You, it's followed mass up to Greenhead Park, and some of the guys from Birmingham used to come up with the jack iron in the boot, and we link up. Isn't that true?
So you were close friends with your cousins because my grandma was your cousin.
Yeah, which one?
Oh, Iris.
She was my aunt.
She was your aunt.
Yeah.
She was your aunt.
Who?
Iris.
Oh, we're first cousins.
First cousins.
Yeah.
Yes. So were you close with your other cousins at the time?
Yeah, I was close with her, honest.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you what, out of them all, Iris was the best to me.
Why is that?
as a young boy growing up in Carriacou, we didn't have shoes, we didn't have boots. And one day, something went in my foot. It was raining. My foot in mud, right? Tried to get it out and I couldn't. Iris was up there as well. And she said, got hold of the foot and she put her mouth on it and they pulled it out with her teeth. And I'll never forget that. That brought us very close. And up to the day she died, we were still very close.
Wow.
Honest.
So when you were moving around, were you still in touch with her?
Yeah,
How did you communicate back then?
letters.
So she kept you up to date with what was happening. So was there any other family members that you were close to, any extended family that you saw, that you...
Well, I was close to Isaac,
Mm.
close to Tyrrell, close to Webb, Margaret. Although we were all close, but they're all in a different bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Sydney and Julia, we were close, but not that close.
Mm-hmm. So do you know anything about Tanrosi's husband, Stevenson Cudjoe? Do you know anything about him?
Yes, I knew a little of him. I remembered when he died,
What happened?
he had a stroke. But I can't remember that much, but I knew he had a stroke.
What kind of person was he? Did you know much about him?
He was, how should I put it? He was a very friendly and jokey-fied person. Very.
Mm. Do you know how he met Tanrosi?
No.
Do you know any about that?
Oh, God, no. God, no, I didn't know that.
What else can you tell me about him?
I knew remember he had a little boat. He used to go fishing, raise fish pots, and so he and Tyrrell was very close.
Mm.
And in all the children, Tyrrell reminded me a lot of him. They looked alike,
Right.
but they were very close.
Do you know anything about the Cox side? Any older relatives?
I knew Tan Ellen, that was my father's sister.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get on at all.
Why not?
Well, she didn't get on with anybody, come to think of it.
What kind of person was she then?
You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
I do want to know.
She was evil. She was cruel.
Did she have kids?
She had one daughter,
What was her name?
Mary.
And what happened to her? Was she the same age as you, or?
Oh, she was older than me.
Mm.
She died a few years back. Well, she was living in Grenada. She was in the States, and after she retired, she went back to Grenada.
Mm-hmm. So when you were in Carriacou, did you experience a hurricane?
Yeah, two.
Which ones? Tell me about them both.
1954, that was Katie,
Katie.
and 1955 was Janet.
So tell me about Katie. What happened with that?
Well, it wasn't that severe, but that's where my mother got the pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
The roof of the house went, and it was raining, and she got a cold there.
Okay. What kind of house was it? Was it just one level?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. And how many siblings? How many people were in the house at the time?
About 10 of us, roughly.
And you remember having to, how did you try and keep shelter? Were you under the table? What were you doing?
What happened? I think the roof went, and we went in the kitchen. The kitchen was still standing, so we went in the kitchen.
Mm.
We sheltered in the kitchen.
Was it scary? Were you scared?
Wouldn't you? Yes, of course we were scared. I mean, we were young, but at the same time, it was scary.
Was it in the dark?
Yeah, a dark night.
How long did it last for? Can you remember?
Um, Might have been an hour or so. It wasn't that long.
So when it came to the daylight the next day after,
Let's just try to assess the damage. You see what was done.
how bad was it? Was it just the roof, or
Yeah,
could you salvage? How long did it take you to build back?
just a matter. Might be. It wasn't as much as a month. In no time at all, I got it going again. Everything was all right.
Did you have to do it yourself, or did you get help?
They got help.
Mhm. Did anyone you know actually die?
Not in that one. Died in Janet, the one that came in 55.
Mm.
I lost a sister then.
So tell me about the Janet hurricane.
Oh, that was the killer.
So leading up to that, were you warned about it before?
Yeah, yeah. There was warning, but I mean, you couldn't have them make much preparation for it.
What did they say then
It
exactly?
was good. It was Communication was limited.
Mm.
But I remember we were at school, and for whatever reason, I think the information came over on the school radio. What they told us about this hurricane that is coming,
Mm.
and they'll advise everyone to get home and seek shelter.
Mm. So what could you do to secure your
Well,
belongings?
we couldn't do anything much. Just gather up all the animals, bring them near the house, tie them,
Mm.
went downstairs. By that time, we had a downstairs
Okay.
and waited for whatever happens.
So you had a walled
Yeah,
section downstairs.
yeah. Then the house went. We stayed there, and after an hour or two, we were looking out to see where we could see light. So this house is standing, and we went over there for shelter.
Your neighbour's house or your home had
Well,
burned.
not neighbors, but house in the village.
Mm. So the Hurricane Janet happened in the evening,
In the night.
in the night.
Yeah,
Wow. So were your animals that secure the next day?
yeah, everything was all right. But I lost a sister.
So how did you lose what happened exactly?
Where she was staying, she was living with her aunt Ellen, and their house went. And they went to the nearest house they could have found. They went there to shelter, and that house fell. And some of the timbers must have hit her on the head, broke her neck. That's how she died.
What was her name?
Leata,
Liata.
yeah.
And how old was she again?
She was 18 at the time.
And did you get on well with her?
Yes, but it was a bit on the strange side because Ellen didn't get on with us,
Mm. Mhm.
and she was afraid to rock the boat.
So that must have been devastating for the whole family then.
Yeah,
Um, so you remember the funeral and things like that?
yeah.
Was it a big turnout?
No, 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 no. It wasn't anything big.
So who came? Was it extent just the kind of the small family?
Yeah.
So that was the worst experience.
True.
So England now. So when you came to England, did you ever think that you would go back to live?
Yeah,
Was
yes,
that
I did think so.
yeah?
I firmly believe that.
When did you when did you realize that wasn't going to happen?
A few years ago, when I had my first heart attack,
So up to all those years, you still thought.
still honest.
So how would you have gone back? Would you got build on your land? Is
Yeah,
that
I was definitely going to go back and build on the land.
so? You've got your piece there.
Mhm.
Have any other siblings built back?
No,
Mm-hmm.
but I was determined to go
Mm-hmm.
up until I started having heart attacks one after the other. And it got to the stage where I'm not fit to go in a plane. So I had to rule that out.
Mm-hmm. How does that feel?
Not very, not very nice, but I got to live with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So people that came over your age, that was their
Yeah,
view to go back.
that's right.
Do you know of anyone that actually did from your generation that did go back to live?
Yeah, I know quite a few.
Mm.
Know quite a few.
And did you go over to the States at all to see your other siblings?
Yes, I've been over there a few times. Well, I've been over there a few times. Tried to encourage me to go over there, but I've already settled in England in Huddersfield. I'm not moving.
So pretty much you're the only sibling that stayed in the UK, is
Yeah,
that right?
yeah,
And they all ended up.
yeah.
So why did the other your two sisters go? How soon did they go to the US when in London?
Um, I can't remember what year Glenn went, but Theo went over to Canada. But she was married, and her husband had brothers and sisters in Canada, and they decided to go over and join them.
So tell me about food now. So what was your like? What was food? What food memories have you got in Carriacou? What was your favourite? What did you? What did your family cook a lot of, or what did you cook a lot of?
I didn't cook.
How did you survive?
Cook one okra with fish.
Mm.
That was the main food.
Who cooked it?
The girls,
Your sisters.
yeah.
Mm.
And at Christmas time, we might be lucky to get some rice and peas or something like that. But the old man makes sure you give him kuku and okra.
Mm-hmm. So did you? So you never did any of the cooking. You were doing the
No,
farming bit.
yes, the girls did the cooking and the washing, and the boys was doing the farming bit.
So who, when you left there now, who taught you how to cook? You had to survive when you went to Union, for instance.
No, when I went to Union, I wasn't cooking either. My uncle's wife did the cooking,
Mm.
but of course, I observed what she was doing.
Mm-hmm. So you learned from her.
Yeah, I learned when I went to Trinidad. My father's first wife called me in the kitchen with her. Come, let me show you how to cook.
Mm.
You see, when you get married, your wife would never be able to cut style on you. I remember that well.
What was the first dish she taught you to cook?
Rice and peas and chicken and a salad. She said she wasn't feeling well to go in the kitchen and I should help
Mm-hmm.
when I go on the first outing.
And how did it turn out?
She said it was wonderful. The only thing is I put too much salt. No, honest, she said if you continue like that, everything would be fine. And that's where I had my first outing. And I did well since.
Brilliant.
Mhm.
Wow. Amazing. So what food most reminds you of home then of Carriacou? What is the dish that really reminds you of Carriacou?
Occasionally, when I make cuckoo and okra and fish, it reminds me of the days in Carriacou.
What would you say to someone visiting Carriacou for the first time? What should they experience?
It all depends what you're looking for.
What would you recommend someone do in Carriacou if they had never been before?
Well, just be your natural self and take part in anything and everything that is going.
What does Carriacou mean to you now at this time in your life?
A place I would really like to go and just relax. If for any reason the medical care improves, I will risk going back to Carriacou in the morning to remain there for the rest of my life.
They are building a new hospital in Grenada.
I
Have you
heard
heard?
about that. I heard about that.
What do you think about that?
Good idea. But the time they take you from Carriacou to get you down to Grenada, you could be dead and gone, especially with a heart problem.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Appreciate your honesty, your
Well,
time.
I try my best.
You did a good job.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.